Warren Buffett said, you only have to do a very few things in your life right, as long as you don't do too many things wrong. And that, I believe, is the epitome of investing success. In today's Investors Hangout, we will discuss how the biggest and the most common mistakes keep you away from achieving your financial goals. At the same time, we'll also be telling you how to avoid these mistakes. To answer all my queries and your queries, we have with us the CEO of Value Research, Dhirendra Kumar, with us. Dhiren, welcome to Investors Hangout.
Thank you.
Today's episode is brought to you by Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Funds and Value Research. My first question, Dhiren, which are the two major things which attribute towards the big mistakes the investors make?
Investors make a lot of mistakes, but plenty of, a large number of them are behavioral. But I think the biggest mistake which people start with is not start. The delayed start, when you start, if you don't start early, that's one of the biggest mistakes. Starting early, however small, is critical, because that is not only one is that the magic of compounding works beautifully, and early demonstration of how compounding works, because any kind of, if you see anything on the blackboard in a classroom, you don't appreciate it till you actually see that you saved 500 rupees a month, and after 3 years with a modest growth and that accumulation, you have been able to build something which you never expected. The magic of compounding when demonstrated to people. So not starting early is one of the biggest mistakes, and this is a global phenomenon. And also, there are odds against it. Initially, early when you start earning, that's the time when you have,
You're happy with the PF contribution that is done. This is okay, that is enough.
That apart, you just have too many expenses. You have too many aspirations. You are getting started. You have never earned before, so you'll have just too many things. So savings, don't occur in, do not cross your mind. Then comes, belief in fixed income. Historically, your parents will say that PPF account, the safety first. So that is another thing. Fixed income orientation and the belief in, the need for safety. Of course, and lack of appreciation of what is safety, what it means to you, what is unsafe, what is truly unsafe. Is your money being volatile? Is it lack of safety? So these are two biggest mistakes which investors should try and avoid. These are the foundations. Not having a fixed income orientation, just have that fixed income orientation for your emergency money and the money which you need to consume immediately. Okay. Rest of it is long term. And not having that fixed income orientation and starting early. Start investing the day you start earning.
Yes, that's a mantra. Start investing the day you start earning. All right, what about, somebody started investing. Let's move from there.
Yeah.
What happens? I feel that I've invested in 15 funds. I'm very happy.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
That's not okay. One has to really understand that what is the goal of investing when investing in funds? You are trying to diversify.
Right.
You are trying to do it in a convenient manner. So with your 500 rupees, you are able to diversify, which for an investor will be very difficult otherwise. And investing in too many funds, this is the most common mistake, because people think that, fund industry is also to be blamed to an extent. That everybody is claiming a certain performance, a certain behavior, a certain portfolio, a news story, and people buy into those stories. So it is the consumer product orientation that this is that, that something with an extra feature. Funds are being sold like that. So you think of buying, okay, let me have this too, extra feature, extra flavor, something, and that doesn't help. Have 2-3 funds can actually fulfill the needs of most investors.
So it is all psychological. Unless and until I have too many funds, I'm not doing enough in life.
It is actually not. People don't want to invest in too many funds. It so happens that some fund claims a performance at a certain point of a certain kind. That investors are tempted to invest in that. Okay. They think that it's not a compromise. Yet another, mutual fund is a good thing. investing regularly is a good thing, but too much of a good thing may not be a good thing. And that is what eventually happens, that if mutual fund is good and if you're investing regularly is good, then what bad can happen? But by virtue of owning 15 of them, it will do no good, because you end up having some of it will do well, some of it will do extraordinarily well, some of it will do poorly, some of it will be extremely disappointing. And the net result of all your 15-20 investment will be that you end up with an index return. If you have to earn the return which index provides, why pay these super expensive of 3%, 2.5%? Go for a index ETF which will cost you, 10 basis point, 5 basis point. 1 basis point is 1/100%. So in that sense, go for the cheaper option. You will be assured, because many funds will beat the benchmark, many funds will not beat the benchmark. At least by investing in an index fund, you will be assured that you will actually match the index all the time, never beat, never underperform.
Okay. Which are the other common mistakes that people make, according to you? That they have to be careful of.
People get excited about investments. People get excited about the investments at the very inappropriate time, and they invest lump sum money. If the market has gone up by 10% last month, then a lot of investors who have been waiting or have been thinking, they think that they have missed the bus. They need to catch it right away, and trying to play that catch up. They invest a large amount of accumulation, their earlier savings at one go. That's a bad idea, because the biggest problem which investors face once they catch a market high is that they stop investing. There is no method to their investment plan, and after that, if the market corrects, if the market goes down, then they wait to break even, and then they take their money out. Once if you invested a lakh of rupees and market goes down by 10, 15, 20%, your lakh of rupees becomes 80,000. Then you keep waiting for it to become 1 lakh rupees.
Okay.
And if it becomes 1,05,000 rupees, you take your money out and never come back again, because you are scared, and you will recall that, okay, last time I invested and after 3 years I made no money, and and it was an opportunity loss. My savings bank account would have given more return. My fixed deposit would have given even higher return. So mutual funds are no good. That particular experience, and then you deprive yourself of a lifetime opportunity of investing equity methodically. So invest regularly, never invest lump sum.
SIP is the one.
SIP is the only, even if you have lump sum money, even if you end up, even if you land up with 20 lakh rupees to be invested, don't do that. Don't invest at one go. Invest it over 18 months, 20 months, 22 years, 3 years, depending on how important that money is. The general rule which investors should follow is that you should invest the money. Normal conditions, you should invest the money in half the time as it has taken for you to earn it. Which means if you got your annual bonus, invest it over the next 6 months. If it has taken 3-4 years for you to earn something, then invest it over next 2 years. That will not apply to the retirement plan. Okay. Because if you have your lifetime of accumulation, it has taken 30 years for you to earn it, then you should not be spreading that money over 15 years. You will miss all the opportunity. And the maximum period that you should go should be 3 years. Because 3 years has been a period, is a time period when you are able to average, you are able to average your investment over one half cycle. Assuming that you start investing in a phase when the market is at its peak. Right. Then in 36 months, it will correct, or it will go. Because the whole idea is to reduce the possibility of catching a market high, and with 3-year time frame, that's the max in which you should spread your investment.
So don't time the market.
Don't time the market.
Get into SIPs, and particularly when you're trying to save tax. It so happens that in March one wakes up, all my.
But I would look at the tax saving bit, the ELSS, because it's human nature. We wait for the deadline. Till there is a deadline, we are not.
So therefore comes your advice.
Yeah,
that please.
Ideally, you should be spreading your investment over the 12 months. You should start your tax saving investment. You earn every month. Make your tax saving investment every month. If you are going to avail the 1.5 lakh rupees full entitlement, invest 12,500 rupees a month.
Correct.
That's straightforward. But if you have not done it, Invest in ELSS, and if you actually wake up in March to invest, do that. With the mindset that for 30 years you will keep investing. That is also your SIP. This is your annual SIP. But if you have your 30-year time frame, by all means, wake up in the last week of March and invest it.
All right. Any other mistake that you would like people to avoid and be cautious about?
Yeah, 2-3 things which I find very common, which is, and now things are much clearer. Never invest in the dividend plan, because a lot of people invest in, people have the notion that if they are getting dividend, their investment is at work, it's performing. Not true for mutual fund.
Okay.
You can invest in a mutual fund, it can do poorly and it can still give dividend. So it is no symptom. Not only that, when you invest in equity, it's a long-term accumulation vehicle. Deriving that dividend amounts to getting your money back. So it's not a good idea. Stay away from anything which is, you invest in mutual fund primarily to diversify your investments. So don't invest in anything which is a thematic or a sectoral fund, because these funds are very tempting. Over any time period, they are either at the top or the bottom of the charts. So you will have a technology fund which will be the best performing one today, or you have the pharma fund which
Tomorrow you never know.
you'll have something else. You had the infra 10 years back, and so people get very attracted to those recent past performance. Avoid them. Your goal is to diversify and do well over a period of time. You are not here to perform well in 2018. You are investing to perform well regular and invest regularly. Do your SIP. Make it a habit. That's all that will.
So in a nutshell, what Dhiren is saying that start investing early. The day you start working,
Yep, absolutely.
that's the time to start investing, and do not think too much about the fixed income plans. Look at other things also, and not too many funds is what you need to be careful of. But don't time the market, get into SIPs, don't opt for dividend
Don't
plan.
stop your SIPs.
Don't stop your SIPs.
Yeah. And one thing which comes to my mind, an afterthought, that most people think of SIPs as a constant number, that I am doing a SIP of 5,000 rupees. Time passes, you earn more, your need for income will rise in retirement, so increase your investment. At least increase your investment by as much your income is growing.
Yeah.
So if your income rises by 10% a year or 5% a year,
Increase
your SIP.
Okay.
And it will translate into something more meaningful.
Okay. And of course, stay away from sectoral or thematic funds, and of course, invest regularly. So, with that, we move on to the Q&A part of our program. And the first question is from Yash. He says, how much should I transfer to debt funds every year from my retirement corpus? I don't need all the money in one go.
I would say that, it depends how much margin of safety you have. And it depends on, your retirement corpus that you have, and if you are dependent on that for it to generate income, to support your income needs. Then, assuming if you are withdrawing only 4% or 5% of your accumulation is good enough to support for your annual income, take it out at one go. I would say that you can also take 2 years income need and put it in a fixed income fund at the outset, because that will give you a great peace of mind that you don't have to worry about next 2 years salary, so to say, or income requirement. It will give you, and then after that period, whenever you see that 4% withdrawal, and try and supplement that fixed income allocation for your income needs 6 months again before that money will be exhausted. So take your 2 years income requirement from your capital and put that in a fixed income fund. You will be assured you will not be under any anxiety how your core investment is doing. And in 2 years time, whenever you see that your investment has gone up in value, after 1.5 years, next 6 months, then supplement this again with, so that you don't have to worry about it another 2 years. You don't have to perfectly time it. Try and avoid pulling out, taking money out when markets are depressed. And but don't try and time it perfectly. It can't be done. So have this, longer time frame, 2 years income, you should not worry generally.
Okay, and related to the retirement, there's a question by Summer. I'm a retired person and have 25 lakh in PPF and rupees 55 lakhs in FDs. FDs will mature in 2 years' time. Suggest investment approach to mean monthly expenditure of 35,000.
Uh, Summer has 25 lakhs in PPF and he's deriving the income from it, which is tax free. So that's good. And it's reasonably okay, 8%. And anyway, in his retirement, he should be carrying a very conservative allocation. 55 lakh in fixed deposit is not a good idea, because he will be, if assuming that he's earning 7-8% on his return on his investment, and his need for income is 35,000 rupees a month, which is 4.2 lakh rupees a year, which is about 5% of his returns. 5% of his annual return, and return from FD is taxable. So it is not all tax free income.
Right.
So only the PPF return is tax free. So he should retain his PPF, invest the proceeds of his fixed deposits. Maybe he should consider taking a part of his fixed deposit as premature encashment if they are in pieces, if they are in smaller bits. If it is not, then he has to hold it for another 2 years. Depends what are the terms of premature encashment, premature withdrawal. But he should carry a conservative allocation, something like equity savings fund, and invest in that. Mount a withdrawal plan. Apart from the income that he will be deriving from the PPF, the remaining money should come from that in the form of a withdrawal. Because right now he's earning approximately about, assuming his post-tax return is 7%, because PPF is
Right.
tax-free and fixed deposit is taxable. So 7% return, and he's consuming 5%. So his margin, the money which is still left, the growth which is still left is only 2%, which is not good enough to support and supplement the need for higher income in future.
Right.
For now, it is okay. There is nothing alarming. But 35,000 rupees now, he will require, maybe 45,000 rupees 3 years from now. That money, to generate 45,000 rupees a month 3 years from now, he will need a larger capital. For that larger capital, a part of the money which is growing should remain at work. So, invest your money methodically. And the other important thing is that 55 lakh rupees, which will be the proceeds of the fixed deposit, should not be invested at one go. This is the money which should be spread over the next 3 years.
Okay.
So maybe, of these 55 lakh rupees, 2, 3 lakh or 4 lakh, 4.5 lakh rupees, you should retain in a fixed income fund, because you are not dependent on your investment in the equity saving fund or whatever, a conservative allocation fund for your income needs tomorrow. So you can derive that money from fixed income. This money will start working. Spread your investments over the next maybe 18 to 20, 18 months to 36 months, and then start a withdrawal plan from there to the extent needed besides the PPF. So this is a simple plan to be followed, and that way, this investment made in this manner will ensure that you will have a larger amount, higher growth in a more conservative way to support a need for higher income a couple of years from now.
Uh, Alagu Pandyan says that I'm 22-year-old man and planning to invest rupees 3,000 every month in mutual funds to attain my goals. And his goals are: one, buying a bike in 3 years' time and a house in 15 years' time. Which category of mutual fund scheme should I choose? Is 3,000 enough?
Uh, it entirely depends on which bike, and it entirely depends on which house. So, and it might be good enough, it may not be good enough, but somebody thinking at 22 years to invest 3,000 rupees
That's early, huh?
is good. So get started, and get started in a because I also find that both the goals are negotiable. If you get your bike in 2.5 years, you'll be happy. If you get it after 3.5 years, that will still be okay. So there isn't a deadline. There isn't something, because child's education, getting into college is something which is not negotiable. So for this goal, start investing in a balanced fund. This will be good for you to inculcate the habit. It will not scare you if the markets turn very volatile. Start investing in a balanced fund, and whenever you are done with the amount which will ensure. Don't borrow money for bike. Need be extend your plan for either 3.5 years. If the money actually becomes enough for you to buy the house, buy the bike in 2.5 years, buy it. Because 2.5, it will happen in less than if the bike is 60,000-70,000 rupees, so you are actually putting 36,000 rupees a year. So maybe it can happen in 1.5 years. So so do that. Once you are able to achieve that goal, take the money out, consume it, buy your bike, and after that carry on with this plan. Carry on this plan for next 15 years. Either you will have enough money to buy the house, or you will not have enough money, but you will have 70% of the down payment or the money. Rest of the money borrow. Uh, Borrowing for house is the only thing which is recommended. Otherwise, never borrow for a consumer loan. Emergencies and home loan are the only two things for which I can support borrowing for an individual. And so I think and as I said, that will that be, as you are asking, will it be enough? It entirely depends.
Bhavesh has written so many websites advise us about the small cap and mid cap funds, and they could be rewarding and risky too. So, if I want to invest through SIP in small cap and mid cap funds for at least 10 years, what precautions should I take?
Uh, you don't have to take precautions. If you appreciate the fact that they are risky, they can go down in value. Sometimes your investment value can actually go down by 50%, 70%, and you can still continue. You don't have to really, uh, you don't have to take any precaution. All you have to do is manage your mind. Keep investing the same amount that you have set out to in the worst of times, because you know in this case, uh, fortune favors the brave. And small caps and mid caps, whatever you read may not be good enough for you to appreciate that how dangerous they could be.
Right.
When you see your 100 rupee at some point that you have seen in the past going down to getting reduced to 30 rupee, it's not a very happy situation.
Right.
But that is the point where, and the people who continue investing even at that point. So you have to manage your own anxiety. You have to manage. You have to get resilient in and continue investing in tough times.
Okay. Vivek has written us saying that I have two children, 9 years and 13 years old. Is it advisable to invest into different sets of funds for each child, with hybrid funds for the older child, time left 4 years, and pure equity for younger one, time left 7 to 8 years? How many funds should I choose for each child?
Uh, no, great that you're appreciating that they come with varying risk, varying volatility. But I would say that even 8 years time is good enough. 7-8 years.
Yes.
Also, you are unlikely to need all the money on day zero. When your child gets into the college, you don't need all the money that you are accumulating, because you'll be needing some money in the first year for the second year. So you, even for the elder child whose education is due in 7-8 years, you will need that money in the time frame of 8 to 12 years, or 8 to 11 years. Invest in the multi-cap fund as you appreciate the risk, and start preparing for start your withdrawal plan 2-3 years before your child get into the college.
Right.
So that'll do the job.
Okay, Abhishek says I'm 23 years old and I want to create a corpus of 20 crores for retirement. How should I proceed?
Save as much as you can and invest your money. And
Age is on your side.
age is on your side, I don't know whether income is on your side, but I assume that you'll do well and earn and start investing as much as you can. And to begin with, I would still suggest, normally I tell people that invest in a balanced fund for next 3 years to get used to it. But invest in a balanced fund anyway. You have a very aggressive goal, and I don't know how much money you can save today, how much money you earn. So invest in a balanced fund anyway. Get used to it. And after that, build a portfolio of multi-cap fund. That should be the core. And after that, choose one or two small and mid-cap fund. 2-3 funds, one small cap, one mid cap, which should take 70-80% of your money for aggressive goal. Remaining one-third of your money must be in multi cap, which is anchored to the well diversified, relatively stable portfolio. 3 funds, invest as much as you can. I don't know how much money you are going to save. how much money you're going to invest. But if you follow this plan, you'll get closer to, or you'll be happy. In 10, 15 years, 20 years time, you will have more than, what do you think of?
20 crores.
20 crore, it entirely is a function of how much money how much money you invest more over time.
Okay.
But get started and build it up.
A quick question. Would the returns from a mid-cap and small-cap fund be similar to a multi-cap fund for 25 years duration?
No, I expect that the return from the small cap fund will be substantially higher in India, and mid cap will be higher, but not as a little lower than small cap, and multi cap will be lower than even mid cap, because in 20-25 years I visualize that you will have, because multi cap fund will have a certain part in large caps as well, mid cap as well, small cap as well, and as they get larger, multi cap funds also tend to get bigger over time. So for them, investing in small cap stocks gets challenging over time. So and India, the kind of economy we are, the way we are evolving and changing, I think finding small cap stocks or small companies that turn big, the reward for that is going to be substantially higher from identifying a good big company which does well but gets bigger, but not at the same rate. So the rewards of spotting a great small cap will be higher, and there'll be landmines on the way. There'll be disasters on the way. But despite that, the risk reward ratio, they are risky, but they will be adequately rewarding. So the answer is small cap will, and 25 years time frame. I think the result will be visible.
Okay.
Small caps will be the most rewarding, followed by mid caps, followed by multi caps, followed by large caps.
Okay. Well, that's all we have in today's program. Dhiren, thank you so much for answering the queries and throwing light on the big mistakes that the investors make, and also how to avoid those mistakes. Take a note of that, start early, and above all, invest regularly. Till we meet next time, it's goodbye from me, Rajesh Lake, and Dhiren Kumar.